Welcome back, everybody, for another round of Charlie Brown Politics. Let's get right into it. I want to talk about Palestine and Israel some more. I'm wanting to bring up a topic and an aspect of this conflict that does not get talked about a lot. And when it does, it gets misconstrued, used for propaganda purposes. What am I talking about? I'm talking about Israel's treatment of the Arab citizens living in Israel. Now, the argument all the time gets brought up: Israel has citizens that are Arab living within it. How can Israel be an apartheid country? Well, there are a bunch of discriminatory laws against the citizens through here, even though people like to claim that it's like a fair and free society and democracy. It really could be further from the truth. So today, I specifically want to look at the town of Jerusalem. Now, the Gray Zone, if you don't know who they are, they're an independent media organization that does great work. They went to Jerusalem themselves to interview people, Arab citizens living within Jerusalem, to ask them what it's like living there, especially after the events of October 7th. And what you might see and watch might surprise you, or will it? So, without further ado, let me pull up this and we'll get it going. There we go. Sorry about that.
Look, in my neighborhood now it's quiet. Everybody afraid what going now, because now you can't speaking about what going in Gaza. If you speaking, quick to the jail. Okay, now we don't have law in Israel. Don't have law. Okay, so nobody safe, and everybody afraid.
On the other side of dozens of West Bank Israeli army checkpoints is East Jerusalem. The neighborhood of Sheikh Jarrah has been the epicenter of organized Palestinian resistance for years. Every Friday afternoon, hundreds of Palestinians in Sheikh Jarrah have peacefully protested against the illegal confiscation of their homes and against the Israeli occupation. But now the neighborhood is free of any activity that might disrupt business as usual. In East Jerusalem, the rights Palestinians had prior to October 7th, as restricted as they were, have now been entirely revoked under the guise of emergency. Violent political repression has become the new standard in Sheikh Jarrah. An air of uneasy quietness looms over the entire neighborhood. There are no more protests and no more demonstrations. They're afraid to post on social media, even to message their friends. Their businesses and places of work are arbitrarily forced to close by the army. Their children are beaten and detained. Their homes are violently destroyed and attacked by Israeli settlers with state protection. Many Palestinians no longer feel comfortable speaking to one another. It's become one big prison, a Palestinian resident of Sheikh Jarrah told me.
So let's stop it there for 1 second. Now, let's recap what we just watched, right? We have this neighborhood, Sheikh Jarrah. Sorry, I'm butchering the name. But we have this neighborhood that is a neighborhood located within Jerusalem. And within this neighborhood, every week they would have a protest protesting the occupation that Israel is taking a part in carrying out within the West Bank and Gaza. And this was before October 7th. But after October 7th, they're no longer allowed to protest. They're no longer allowed to gather there. Life before October 7th wasn't, pleasant either. But after October 7th, things have been amped up to a very, they've just been amplified. They've just been amplified. People are getting arrested for arbitrary reasons. They're not giving the people a reason why they're detaining them. They're beating the shit out of them. They're closing businesses. They're not allowing people to speak their voice and protest. And so this is supposed to be a democracy. This is supposed to be like a fair and free society. But from what I'm hearing so far, it's not really sounding like that. So I skip forward to the next part of this video that I want you guys to watch, and let's take a listen.
Saleh Diab is a veteran Palestinian activist in Sheikh Jarrah. He explained that the protests and even individual political conversation against the Israeli occupation have been effectively outlawed in Sheikh Jarrah. Mass arrests and beatings are pummeling local Palestinians into acquiescence.
In these days, you don't have law in Israel. They kill you, and it's easy to kill, to hate, to take you in the jail. It's easy. Nobody can talking now. Nobody can speaking about the occupation. In this month, just in this month, only about 42 days about the war in Gaza, you have now 2,700 people they took in the jail. In you, not before. If you're speaking or if you have picture and about the Facebook or WhatsApp, if writing about the world, what they make to Israel, they took you in the jail. So nobody can take speaking. Nobody, they're afraid. Everybody, they're afraid.
All right, let me pause it real quick. So this gentleman says that since October 7th in Jerusalem alone, they have arrested 2,700 people for arbitrary reasons, for posting dissidents against the Israeli government on social media. These are, we all know what should be happening here. We should be allowed to speak our voice, even if it's not in agreement with the narrative. So, for those of you that are doubting just this guy's word, I pulled up a receipt for him. This is from the United Nations Human Rights Office of the High Commissioner. So, flash report on the human rights situation in the occupied West Bank, including East Jerusalem, following the attacks on October 7th. We're not going to read the whole thing. I don't know if you guys can see my cursor, but I'm circling over the part that I want everybody to focus on here. Okay, so here we go. I'll read it. Mass arbitrary arrests, detentions, and ill treatment raising concerns of collective punishment. From October 7th to December 27th, the ISF carried out daily mass arrests and arrested around 4,785 Palestinians, in most cases not linked to the commission of a criminal offense. Arrests were regularly accompanied by physical and psychological abuse and humiliation of detainees by ISF, including sexual and gender-based violence against men and women. In East Jerusalem, a dedicated unit of Israeli police closely monitored social media activity of Palestinians and carried out arrests following publications of social media posts. Israeli authorities dramatically worsened conditions and treatment for Palestinians detained by Israel on security charges, including through beating, isolating them from the outside world, and denying medical care. 6 Palestinians have died while in Israeli detention. So there you go. There's a little bit of a receipt for you on what this guy is saying. But let me see here. I think he's got a little bit more to say.
Afraid.
Do you know anyone that has been arrested for speaking?
Yes, of course. I have 100. And I have 2 girls in my neighborhood. 2 girls now in the jail because they make picture about what happened in Gaza.
This is the Vanish Hole.
Okay, so there you have it. That's all that I want to take from that clip. The army is, acting indiscriminately with power that is unchecked. They're classifying anybody as a criminal or associated with Hamas with no, what proof are they using? A social media tweet of dissidents. So, gosh, what else can we say here? This is, like I said, this is supposed to be a democracy. This is supposed to be, yeah, a fair and equal society by their words or whatever, where they treat everybody equal. But we see time and time again that this is not proving to be true. So I got one more clip, guys, that I want to share with you. It's going to be a man speaking. He's going to be speaking in Arabic, so they have the translation underneath, and I will go ahead and read that for those of you that are listening. So here we go.
الناس
People fear they can be detained, fined, and tortured.
خايفين من الاعتقالات، من الغرامات، من التعذيب.
Especially now, the Israeli regime isn't democratic now.
اليوم الحكم مش ديمقراطي في إسرائيل.
In addition to the dispute over the houses, our children
المشاكل بنواجهها غير الدور، اعتقال
are being
أبناء
detained all the time. We pay arbitrary fines, and we're worried all the time.
ودفع مصاري، ودايما معيشيننا بقلق. في أكتر مشاكل
Most of the violent troubles we face
مع
here
الشرطة، مع شرطة
with the police has been the Yassam division, which is special forces in English.
اليسام اللي هي سبيشال فورسز بتقولها بالإنجليزي، يعني زي
I can show you videos, countless videos,
قوات خاصة اللي هم مجرد يعني
of how our young people could be sitting and doing nothing.
في فيديوهات معنا بمجرد ما young people
And they would come and beat them.
قاعدين هيك ولا بيسووا إشي، بينزلوا بضربوهم.
Young people have learned to run away as soon as they hear the army or police coming.
هلا صاروا لما ينزلوا يهربوا بسرعة الشباب لأنه
Because they know that they will be
كيف
beat.
ضاربين واحد.
I can show you how fiercely they beat my boy in the neighborhood. And here is a photo of the injuries that his son has sustained from it. I mean, man, let's keep going for just a little bit more.
واحد من حارتنا من هون من الحي ضاربينه ضرب قوي جدا غير الكلام اللي سمعوه.
Not to mention the swear words. They call them super filthy swear words.
كلام كتير 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 وسخ.
Israeli settlers seeking to colonize the neighborhood of Sheikh Jarrah have capitalized on the stripping of Palestinian rights in the wake of October 7th and started to launch terror attacks like firebombing homes and stores to force their owners out of the neighborhood.
And so before we get into that next point that the narrator just went over, where they're saying Israeli settlers are now attacking Arab citizens in Jerusalem, like throwing Molotov cocktails at their businesses and stuff. I just want to say, compare the treatment of how the IDF is treating their captives and their prisoners comparatively to how people are talking about Hamas treats their the captives that were released from Hamas said that they were treated very gently. That 84-year-old woman even shook the hands of the people that let her go and said that they treated her gently. So, you want to compare how one side treats the other. There you go. And so, yeah, let's get back to what they're saying here. Settlers are now being allowed to attack Arab citizens, and the government's pretty much just standing by and letting it happen. It kind of reminds me of how in America, we used to let the KKK bully people and black people to meet certain political agendas and keep certain things in power, and so people wouldn't vote certain ways. You guys know how it is. Okay, and so this guy says after October 7th, settlers began hurling Molotov cocktails.
صار هناك إنهم بأول الحرب يعني مرقوا عن دور العرب اللي فوق ساكنين.
At houses and restaurants in Sheikh Jarrah.
ضربوا على البيوت أنينتين مولوتوف.
There's a video of someone doing it. Initially, homeowners chose to adhere with the law.
البيوت هاي قالوا إحنا بدنا نمشي على القانون. هو القانون بقول إني أروح أشكي.
So they filed a formal complaint at the police station.
فهو راحوا على شرطة صلاح الدين اللي هون راحوا يشكوا.
Wow, and a lot going on here. So there's a smoke bomb being thrown into this building. Our neighbors told me how the police officers
فبقول لي فتشنا بطريقة غير طبيعية.
questioned them as they entered the station.
داخلين على محطة الشرطة يعني هيك
And they hit them.
ضرب شايف وبقول له
Seriously, you have the courage to come here and complain, the officer told him.
في عندك عين يعني أنت في عندك جرأة تيجي تشكي.
He explained Molotov cocktails hurled at his house.
قال له أنا جاي أشكي على ناس ضربوا علي مولوتوف. قال
The
له
police did
قال له طيب
nothing.
اطلع. قال له طلعت فوق ما استفدتش اشي من
You know, so here we have it. The police aren't taking these attacks seriously. They're allowing them to happen. Uh, this is supposed to be a fair and equal society, or at least they claim it's supposed to be a democracy or whatever. You know, it's not really looking like that. Israel is if Israel can call itself a democracy, Chris Christie can call himself an underwear model. You get what I'm saying? It's just not, the math ain't mathin'. It's not adding up. The people that had the Molotov cocktails hurled at their business go to the police, and the police beat them for it. I mean, what the evidence is mounting up time and time again. The world is seeing what Israel is truly doing, and you know, this, and not to mention like what they've done to their Ethiopian Jews. They gave them depot shots without them knowing to pretty much sterilize them. So yeah, you guys know where I stand if you've been watching me for a minute. I stand with Palestine. This is a genocide, and so here that's pretty much what I wanted to show, guys. This is just a side that does not get spoken about a lot. Go check out the full clip from the Gray Zone. It's a wonderful piece that shows something that doesn't get talked about. And like I said, Israel just uses it for their own propaganda and their own narrative. And here at Charlie Brown Politics, we are not having that shit. So, keep the fight going. Keep speaking out for the people of Gaza and Palestine. How many people are we at now that are gone? It's a lot. It's almost 30,000, and the number just keeps rising. It's heartbreaking, guys. It's heartbreaking. So every time someone speaks out on this, we got to keep amplifying it. Keep doing your thing, everybody. I know everybody in my circle is doing what they can. So keep fighting, everybody. And with that being said, let's wrap this up. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I will catch you on the next episode of Charlie Brown Politics. Later, everybody.